Hey guys, it's Ruckus the Menace, and you're listening to Ruckus and the Menace podcast. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. I'm Ruckus the Menace,
And I am Ruckus.
and today we've got ourselves quite a bit of sport action going on. We are not quite going into trade deadline rumors just yet. We're still about really 2.5 weeks from the trade deadline, so anything trade deadline is not necessarily going to be spoken on at this point, Ruckus. Just giving you a little bit of a heads up. We're gonna wait. I think we're probably gonna do like early trade deadline rumors thing, maybe in our weekly lineup segment, kind of like a couple of speculations going that way. But then our high heat on the 27th, the podcast episode before the trade deadline, is going to be kind of some other speculation, kind of like where we really hone in on some of the speculations that come about from the trade deadline. And then our high heat for August. What is it? August 3rd? The next Wednesday after.
Yeah, that'd be a day after the trade deadline.
Yeah, August 3rd. Yes. So we will recap the trade deadline on the 3rd of August. And NFL previews will not start until nearly the preseason after. So kind of what I'm wanting to do kind of right off the top before we go into leading off is, or kind of like our locker room off topic thing, is just kind of really set kind of the landmark of the direction that we are taking over the next few weeks as far as some of our major hit points. So if it seems like we're a little bit delayed or anything as far as certain like major hit points for like, oh, this was hot during like the early portion of the week or something like that, just bear with us on that. If it hit like while we're breaking into this podcast episode, we'll catch up with it within the week. We'll catch up with it within the week so that everything will feel very much like we'll have a take on it as it goes along.
Also, we're still very new to this scene of
Oh,
sports.
Ruckus, we don't need to say that. We don't need
This
to
is
say that
episode
now.
15, man. Come on.
I mean, I mean, what I'm giving is like a disclaimer of like, yeah, it may seem like certain things that, oh, this happened Thursday, it may have been hot then. We're a weekly podcast. We're not necessarily doing this daily, so you're gonna end up having a full week's recap within that time frame. So it's gonna be a little bit more information chunked in, but just giving like a small little roadmap over the next like little bit because we'll have some NFL stuff coming soon. Because we're getting right to that sweet time, and trust me, I know that I will probably be mentioning a good amount of what I see out of high school football and even some college football over that time frame, especially from around here, because it's kind of big. Because that's kind of big.
Yeah, I've also been kind of, like, speaking of football, I've been seeing a lot of funny memes about the whole Deshaun Watson and Baker thing. And there was one about, like, someone said they can't wait to see the new commercial of Baker Mayfield, like, giving the keys to Deshaun Watson
I
to
think Baker addresses this in another like little thing. He announced his decision on those at home commercials. It actually is going to be no more with the trade being done.
darn it, because there's a meme that I found, and I'll just read it. Someone said, "Can't wait for the Baker commercial where he packs up his bags and moves out of the Browns stadium." Then Deshaun Watson walks up and says, "Hello, I just moved in down the street and I'm legally required to inform you ... dot 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 dot."
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just saw this story. I just saw this pop up like earlier, and he basically said with this that those unfortunately the at home Baker Mayfield commercials are coming to an end. Was required by the Carolina Panthers. Announced that he's done with making those type of commercials with Progressive during that Tuesday press conference. Um,
Oh man, there goes his passive income with Progressive.
um, it's not like he doesn't have like a whole bunch of other ways to earn it. He still has endorsements with everywhere else other than with anywhere else that he can end up with other than Progressive. So it's not like he's really losing out on, dare I say, that much.
Yeah, I also saw another meme where it was talking about week one whenever he sees the Browns again, and it shows like this old uh, video of Baker Mayfield like kind of flashing his or like holding onto his junk and like and then like taunting the other team, which was what got him. So it wasn't really a suspension. It was more like a, oh, you can't play you can't start the game, but you could play after that like start of the game on his senior day. So fun stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So you've got yourself some other things. So other than talking about Baker Mayfield, Ruckus, what all have you kind of gotten yourself into?
I've been pretty much just binging the crap out of Stranger Things season 4 because I was tired of seeing all the random spoilers that I was getting on social media. So what I did end up doing was just watching it in the background while I was doing stuff either at work or like just at home, and it's a really good show. See, like the first episode, I was wondering where the hell this was going, but after that, it got a lot better. That's all I'm gonna say. But as far as gaming goes, I tried to play as much MLB The Show as I could, but I also wanted to play some Battlefield, so it was like a mix of that. And then a good friend of mine got me into Star Citizen, and that game is still in very early access. I think it's still in alpha, but I played it recently and it looks pretty darn cool, but I haven't done a whole lot with it. I've been also back to watching Bar Rescue and Ash vs. the Evil Dead. I found it on Paramount Plus, so I've just been kind of watching through the seasons, and it's fun just listening to John Taffer just bicker at like idiot employees or like really like unqualified managers, and like just seeing the dumb little like promotions. Like there was one recently that I saw where this lady had like a bar that no one was really going to because it looked really dated and run down, but they advertised a you could win lobster thing, and they literally had a
Oh yeah.
tank with water in it with the lobsters, and then they had like this crane. It was like a crane game. You pay $2 to play, and if and like most people were winning the game in like one or two tries. And so like the mathematical equation for that was if you uh, played it 3 times and didn't get a lobster, then they broke even at that point. But that wasn't the case.
Yeah, because lobsters don't move that much, you can get
Also,
them kind of.
lobsters cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're barely really breaking even on lobsters. I think
Dude,
I've seen that. I've at least seen that episode. I think that was in like season 2 or 3.
yeah, I was in
So
season 3. I've been kind of going down the rabbit hole on that, but my other favorite one was there was this dude that like owned like this really small bar in like Illinois maybe, and it was like this really creepy bar. There was a lot of bug infestation problems, and they had like a live band, but like the owner just didn't care that there was like 5 cockroaches in his Jack Daniels bottle that he was
Oh
serving to
my
customers.
goodness.
Yeah, and
Oh
they
god.
weren't like the stereotypical big ones that just kind of like flutter around. These were like tiny little bastards. Like like they were like you could they were like barely the size of a napkin. Like they were tiny, but still that's gross. And then like the manager was oblivious the whole time, and then at the end credits it just shows like, oh, you remember that one manager that like was super annoying this whole episode? Well, everyone quit from his
Yeah.
establishment. um but yeah, back on topic. I kind of skimmed over some of the MLB The Show stuff and just played versus CPU just to rank up my monthly award stuff. And I've also just been busy with work and then coming home and being tired. So yeah, that's why I was kind of like out of the loop last week. I was just kind of like focused on
Yeah.
other stuff at hand. But I am good now as far as mentality goes. So, Spanish, how have you been, my dude?
Well, this is kind of an abnormal week because of certain things involving work. I had to work Sunday, so that turned my 2-1-3 that I usually have into a 5 in a row with one day off. I work in the morning and then I will have Friday off, but my Friday off leads into a 3-day weekend where I will be out of town. So so this is good.
Sounds like
This
fun,
is good.
dog.
Yep, and then I've caught up on Miss Marvel. Um I got myself a lot further along in this program. Thank you, monthly awards, and actually being on top of it. Um, I am now to the point where I am more waiting for the if I can push to 500,000 to get an always intense 2 pack, and I feel motivated enough to get to it through all of a sudden the All-Star break grind. Okay, if not, I honestly don't care. I just want to get to the next program to where I can get everything that I need for that. But today has been very much a Tiny Tina's Wonderlands type of day
How
where
is that game?
I actually have been enjoying it. Like it like basically you take like the standard concepts of like, oh, it's a loot shoot for Borderlands, but you have elements that are like your TTRPGs where you'll find like lucky dice for things, and you'll end up running into like it feels more like a shooter, but with this it also has like this classic Borderlands type of thing, and you have an overworld where you're on basically a table, like the tabletop, as you're walking around, and you'll run and you'll have encounters on the map and like that. I got to level. I messed up initially when I first went through my character, so this was a redo. I've gotten further along in my redo than I did with my original character. So I am now at level 9 with this character, and pretty much with the way I restructured this character, I'm now finding that my spell shot is hitting like a truck over some of these like lower level, like these level scaled enemies. Like I'm hitting them harder, which is which I'm making this spell shot also to cross along with Graveborn. So it's going to be like a necromancer type of thing. And I've got kind of the build formula lined up, so basically what I'm doing is that I've already got like 3 of like my main skills, or 3 of like my main attributes already maxed out maxed out. So all I have to do is basically when I level up, I build. my attributes into strength, dexterity, or constitution now. So I've now got myself like to literally flat out like a dumbed down like level up system. So I'm not having to go and figure out like, oh, what do I want to level up at this time? It's like mostly it's like, oh, do I choose to level up my strength, my constitution, or my intelligence at this, or no, not my intelligence, my dexterity at this point. So I just know that I have to just keep going through that. Like just keep going through that. But the game definitely has like some solid post game stuff that I will eventually mess around with. Like may mess around with. I may mess around and download the DLC, download the season, get the season pass for it, and kind of do some other things, and then possibly if possibly have some friends join along if it all works out. So Tiny Tina Wonderlands is a solid game. I do eventually need to finish the last 4 episodes of the Skywalker saga, but today just felt like a Tiny Tina Wonderlands day. So I may slide over and do some Skywalker saga like sometime later on, because if I have like a lack of interest in the MLB The Show program leading for the next few days before the All-Star stuff comes out. But other than that, really just big things, like just big plans, and kind of forging ahead for a lot of the future has kind of been on my radar the next few days, like the next like long while.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of where I'm at. So now that we've kind of gotten through what we've really gotten into, or is it time for them to time for these people to kind of get into what we do best?
Damn straight, we're gonna do the weekly lineup.
Yep, it's time for the weekly lineup where we kind of have like a little bit of a quick take on some of the sports stories throughout the entire week. So my question to you, Ruckus, is how do we want to start this? Do we want to start? I think we should definitely start with kind of the off-brand sports at this point, which the main thing here is going to be Wimbledon.
Yeah, we could go with the Kirkland
The
brand.
like the All England tournament. Nadal withdrew before the semifinal. It led to a Novak Djokovic Nick Kyrgios final that Djokovic won in 4 sets. Kyrgios during the presentation of the trophies, it was set to take a fine because of the color hat he chose to wear at the trophy presentation. Because here's the thing, at Wimbledon, for the Wimbledon final, you are supposed to be in all white. It's all white. He wore a red hat.
You know,
He changed his hat in protest to a red hat.
man, you know what would really suck actually in retrospect? Like, what if, like, he accidentally got it stained somehow? Like, yes, red is pretty hard to screw up with, like, fabric and whatnot, but, like, what if, just hear me out, someone, like, doused his hat in, like, red ink or whatever? Who knows? That's just me being dumb, though, asking
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah. Yeah, but he had that hat. He clearly had to have had something up with that. Kyrgios is a polarizing and can even be controversial type player as
So
well.
he's
So
like
that
the
kind
Kyle Busch of tennis.
of, in a way. So I think the next major thing is that you also said that Joe Lacob for the Golden State Warriors has a standing offer to buy the A's. So I know that Oakland really the ownership probably should sell. But it's like,
Most definitely.
And I think it would be very interesting to see Joe Lacob buy this program because but I think it's more so simply because of just his knowledge of the sport ownership game and knowing that he can put the right people in the right place to build that program and also be maybe unafraid to pay them.
Also, let alone getting the proper things done for a new stadium, or just at least finding a place to like actually have a home for the athletics, because the Oakland Coliseum ain't doing it anymore,
Oh
and no one
yeah.
is going to their games. Like, they are losing money playing their games at Oakland Coliseum.
I mean, but the problem is that we've been saying this for years about the Trop. And yet the Rays still manage to play their games in the Trop. I mean, there's practically nobody in them. I mean, granted, the Marlins ended up building a new stadium, but the Marlins were just a ridiculously bad team.
Also, when it's a bad thing when your uh ballpark name is Lone Depot Park. Like, I thought that was bad. Like, Guaranteed Rate Field, when they had their like down arrow that was going red, when obviously the White Sox weren't that great, but the Central Division in general wasn't that great. So seeing that also doesn't seem attractive, in my opinion. But yeah, I get where you're coming from on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you have bad team like there's bad teams. And that actually I think that if Joe Lacob were to eventually be the man that buys the A's, I think that the Oakland Athletics can find a way to completely rebuild out of this mess, know exactly what they need to do. Granted, baseball is a whole different animal. It really, you're not, you're dealing with a whole different cast of characters and a lot of different things and a lot of differences in terms of the game itself. So certain things that would get you by in owning a basketball team may not necessarily apply in owning a baseball team.
Like
But
budgeting as far as that, or
or,
like just in
or
general.
well, you'd be budgeting for more. You have to deal with more There's more manager. There's more coaching. There's more. You have to deal with a farm. You have to deal with more levels of a farm system. So you have a whole bunch of these like other moving parts that you have
Doesn't the
that
NBA
you
have a
have to.
G League though that they have to deal with?
Yeah, but here's the thing: that G League team that they have for each team, there's only one of those.
True.
In
Yeah, I was just kind
in
of like think
baseball, you have three of them. You have three of them on top of that.
I mean, but isn't that mainly just base like you're just kind of getting an overview of each one? It's not like you're running. I mean, yes, you run the whole like franchise and stuff, but like I feel like it would be about the same as like having the G League. Yes, you have three different like levels of uh that going on, but also the G League, it seems like not a lot of players get from the G League to the NBA in general.
Yeah,
That's like
it
a
is.
whole little pool of its own, besides like single A, double A, and triple A.
Oh yeah, I agree because it's easier to move from level to level. It feels like it's a little easier to move from level to level baseball wise than it is level to level basketball wise because you kind of because really with basketball there's a lot smaller number of spots. And then really for baseball, it's like, okay, an injury may have this really, really great player come down for a rehab assignment. You have
Also, go ahead.
there's rehab assignments. You have players from various age brackets involved as well. It could be you have like, oh, this hot prospect. It's like, oh, and then you have, oh, this aging veteran that still can still ball, but maybe more so be there as a mentor for that future superstar.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, a little bit of an off-topic thing, but still NBA. Kansas City, if you're listening to this, let's get a damn NBA team going. We used to have one that was like in a different league of its own, but like it'd be sweet to go to a NBA game at like T-Mobile Center or just in general. I just think it'd be cool.
I don't think Kansas City is going to be the right spot. I think if you're going to think anywhere in Missouri, I think getting them back into St. Louis would be probably the ideal spot. But I think there's a priority. There's a better priority spot. But we don't even know if the NBA is going to expand yet. But I think that really another notable spot that they do need to expand is to go right to Seattle.
Yeah, they were having talks about the Oklahoma City Thunder actually coming to Kansas City because I guess their lease was going away on like the arena they're currently in. I don't know the whole story, but I just remember a tweet from me or Lucas talking about being like, "Hey, just come over and just chill with us. We got your back, dog."
Oh, I mean, I think if Oklahoma City were to not be able to get their renewing of the lease, I would either look at them to either go back to Seattle or stay in that central U.S. area, but maybe go to St. Louis. I really would like to see him kind of go into that St. Louis area more
Yeah.
so than anything else. Bring back the old ABA team of the Spirits.
Yeah,
Because I
because
don't even think, because with Kansas City you'd kind of have to rename a concept. It's meanwhile with
we
the
were the Knights at one point. We were the Kansas City Knights, and then it changed to or the Kansas City Kings. I don't remember. It was like the Knights, and then it was the Kings, and then they, I guess, got.
relocated to Sacramento.
That's a story, at least. I don't know if I really believe that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that was what that was. I think that was what that was.
Yeah.
Or, but I mean, there's a whole bunch of teams that very well could do something with that.
Stay in the
But
NBA.
yeah, staying in the NBA, you have the Lakers are set to retire Pau Gasol's jersey of number 16, which pretty much after Kobe, you've already got Shaq's number retired. You can't necessarily do much about some of the other players that you would have there, but Pau, I think Pau for the Lakers retiring it, I think it's fairly appropriate.
Yeah, it
I
makes
on
sense. It
I
makes a whole
thought
lot of sense.
I thought Memphis would have done it first, but I think the value that Gasol brings personally, though, would he really need his number to be retired anywhere? Honestly, no. But I think the Lakers doing it seems like it would make the most sense.
Yeah, he won a championship there, and he definitely helped them get there. Without him, they would have probably had to find some other talent to go in as a center or power forward because it was Lamar Odom that was a power forward. I'm
And his
pretty sure.
brother, that they could have developed.
I mean, he was already kind of developed with Toronto though after he went with the Grizzlies. Like Marcus
But
Hall
I'm saying
won.
like
Go ahead.
you what I'm saying is that Marcus Gasol was on the Lakers before being sent to Memphis. It was
I did not know that. I
the
thought it was
trade
just.
The trade was brother for brother. The trade had both
Oh,
brothers on each side getting exchanged.
that makes a whole lot more sense now.
Yeah, I mean, granted that Al Gasol was also traded for Kwame Brown, who is a bona fide scrub, but but it was a brother for brother, but it was a brother for brother exchange, which makes that which Marc Gasol eventually became the centerpiece in Memphis.
And then after that whole thing with Toronto, he went to LA in a 1 year deal, which now
Yeah,
seems kind of funny that he would come back.
yeah. But now the NBA has also applied some rule changes. The play-in format that we were dealing with there, it was said to kind of be like, oh, they're going to vote on it on a year-to-year basis. They now have made this a permanent fixture. That this now is permanent. So that play-in thing that LeBron was moaning about, you now got to deal with it all the time.
When does
10
he
team.
not moan about anything?
Oh, LeBron was whining about a whole bunch of things. That doesn't surprise me with just about anything.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. What does he not whine about?
Yeah.
Maybe he would. Hopefully, him and Bronny play together. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it'd be a stretch, but I think what are we now about 3 years out from that?
It, probably. I'm not entirely sure how like the private school sector goes into the whole like college sector. I'm not.
Oh,
I don't follow that scene very much. I just heard something about how like a bit ago they LeBron and Bronny want to eventually play one season together or something like that. Or
yeah,
yeah, I thought that'd be kind of cool.
yeah. I'm just trying to think because I think Bronny's getting ready to enter his senior year of high school. He then has to go through one minimum 1 year of college. He's close to 40 at that point.
He'll be needing a walker by then.
Eh, at this point, that doesn't surprise me.
Just
Shifting
kidding.
to Yep. And now we're gonna switch gears to the NFL. The main thing that I, as a Commanders person, will say is that the House Oversight Committee has stated that the owner of the Commanders, Dan Snyder, can testify in the investigation virtually, but he must be under the subpoena due to a reputation of hiding behind NDAs or using NDAs to basically conceal a lot of wrongdoing. Snyder being under the subpoena will require him to answer the questions that are asked rather than saying he cannot disclose the information due to the NDA if he were to testify voluntarily.
Does he have an IT assistant with him for this whole like Teams
Oh,
call? Not Teams call, the like Zoom call. Because if I were his IT manager, I would have a green screen behind him and then have him in like a jail cell or like something like that.
oh goodness. It's bad enough. It's bad enough that you've got it's bad enough that his boat has kind of been escaping around the Mediterranean in trying to dodge the thing. So
or
and
at
really his
least or at least have AI change it to where he's like an alien and then the whole time he's just like, what are you talking about? I'm just an alien, man. I don't know what you're talking about. That's hearsay, Your Honor. I'm-
Ruckus, you're trying to enable him getting out of this thing.
like he
No,
hasn't thought
you
of it
need
before.
no. This guy is basically at this point he's probably D2R. He's dead to rights. He's busted.
Honestly,
He's
it
practically busted. He's busted with really nothing to hide. The NFL commissioner needs to hurry the heck up, make a motion to get this guy out of here, and have the Commanders ownership change hands. This is one of those things where it's like now all of a sudden the skeletons are going to come out and they are going to bury Dan Snyder alive. Because there's enough of this evidence that is going to completely eradicate his ownership from him.
Yeah,
And
Goodell's gonna
leave it.
get booed at the draft no matter what, so.
Goodell's getting booed. Goodell gets booed at everything. Heck, I wouldn't have been surprised that he was testifying at the House Oversight Committee, and even the Oversight Committee was booing him.
You know, it'd be really funny if he had like a big birthday bash, and then whenever they like brought out the cake, everyone's just like, "Boo!"
Okay, so now that we go from my team, we now can go into a situation that involves yours.
Yep, and it's less controversial. It's more just like a what the hell is going on in the form of a player negotiation. So around the beginning of free agency, I believe that was like April or like May.
There's like a franchise tag point. There's like a franchise
Yeah,
tag that.
it was like near the beginning, like April, I think, is when they did that. They put Orlando Brown Jr. in the franchise tag and with that, you get a certain amount of time to actually negotiate a contract. And the past month or so, he finally got an agent because he was going in between different agents, and now it's gotten to a point where he is in the mode. It seems, according to the media. Ironic I say that because we are the media. Um, he is like that kid in college that waits till 11:59 p.m. to get his homework done and to submit online. But at the same time, like he's trying to be the highest paid left tackle in the league. And personally, good for him on that. But here's the problem with that: if they don't get a extension done soon, like literally in 2 days, by the time this recording goes out, or like a day, Veach is spending more money than um, or he has more of a cap hit than if he were to extend him right now. If he extended him, he could always like put some dead cap money in different years and like save some cap space for future players or future contracts and stuff like that. But um, I I'm I don't know a whole lot about it, but from what I hear, it's not gonna happen anytime soon. And it kind of feels like the whole Tyrann Matthew situation from that whole year of last season too.
But I will say this. I mean, he, Orlando Brown is wanting to become the highest paid left tackle. However, the hard part about this is that you're also dealing with the highest paid quarterback in the room or in your offense room. You have really only so much money to work with because of a salary cap.
Yeah, you got like Kelsey that you're paying for. You're paying for Chris Jones. Besides Pat Mahomes having $500 million in his cap, he also had to uh, take down his contract or like lessen his contract amount because he wanted to help get more talent on the field for him and help his team. Tom Brady did the same thing when he was with the Patriots. But
Oh,
anyways,
they you see deals get restructured all the time.
right.
So really, where I'm going with this is that but then you end up with situations where you get stuck with maybe a situation where you're playing under the franchise tag. And realize that this has happened multiple times with the Commanders. You go through one season of a franchise tag. Oh, you try and franchise tag him again. But the problem is that each year you try and franchise tag this player, the hit on him goes higher. So with this really being a first time franchise tag, he can play under this tag if he signed it, but then he's only there for 1 year, and then you're stuck in the same situation again 12 months from now.
Well, the problem is I don't think he wants to play under that tag. So like, even if even right now with the 1 year 16 million that he's getting, that is a big cap hit on Veach. Whereas if he had like a, let's say he gets like, he would have gotten like a 5 year, I don't know,
Yeah.
$100 million contract, that'd be like 20 million a year, which would be higher than what Ronnie Stanley got, but like, you don't always have that money guaranteed right out of the gate. Like, there's like people that get like 135 million, but then only like 80 of it is guaranteed, or even less than that. So, other than that, personally, I think if they don't get a deal done and he decides, hey, I don't want to play under it, then they'll probably have to find someone else. Because right
Yeah.
now, Eric Fisher, which was part of the Chiefs until last season, where they revamped the whole offensive line, he could fill that void. He has been removed. The only reason he was cut, and the same thing with Schwartz, is because they were recovering from injuries. Schwartz was recovering from a back injury, and Fisher had a torn Achilles after the game versus the Bills in the AFC Championship game. So if you bring Eric Fisher back, you have a little bit of a like cushion, kind of like how you did when you signed Kyle Long last season, which is now retired, it seems. Um, you have a cushion there. You still also have the guys that you got in the NFL draft with Darian Kennard. That dude looks like a freaking machine. He reminds me of the great Khali from um, The Longest Yard.
You teach me to play football?
No, that's a black dude that like does the defensive stuff. He's like a pass rusher, which is
Oh.
honestly what the Chiefs need. Uh, the Great Khali was just like this guy that they like gave the football to on offense, and he would just like crumble
Yeah.
everybody because of
Yeah,
how
the Great
tall and
Khali. Oh, the Great Khali was an Indian. Was an Indian. He eventually was like professional. He eventually went into professional wrestling.
right. He was in the
But then,
WWE.
yeah,
That's why I was saying like he would at that point like yeah. We would need that for our defensive line because our defensive line has been uh, mediocre at best for most of the part. For the most part, when it comes to like the pass rush, because that whole Bengals thing, we should have gotten Burrow so many more times than we did, but it is what it is. I've seen a lot of stuff about Frank Clark losing a lot of weight and being 4 months without alcohol. I'm proud of that dude. I probably couldn't have done that unless I put my mind to it, but here we are. Other than that, we have more NFL news. The Pittsburgh Steelers will have a new stadium name this season. It is not Heinz Field anymore, so that kind of sucks. But it'll be now named something even. It goes from Heinz Field, which is a food company, to a insurance company called
Acrisure
Acrisure
Stadium.
Stadium, which is very hard to pronounce, and a bunch of people are probably also going to be scratching their heads and stuff like that. Honestly, Acrisure or Asrisure or uh uh crap.
We deal with this for 15 years, so
Worcestershire Stadium as a team has a new stadium sponsor for the next
oh my
15
god,
years.
oh my gosh, this
Kill me now. um, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It reminds me of whenever GHA decided to name the stadium from Arrowhead to GHA Stadium at Arrowhead. It should have just literally been uh, Arrowhead Stadium presented by GHA, but it is what it is. Another one, NFL Sunday Ticket is leaving from a streaming provider for a streaming. I thought It said from for a streaming provider in 2023, Apple, Disney, and Amazon are leading candidates in the bidding war that Goodell confirmed is happening, and a decision is hopefully made this fall. Personally,
This,
that one is a big one for as far as DirecTV goes, because not only did I leave DirecTV stream to like see Bali for the Royals, Bali decided to make their own crappy streaming platform called Bali Sports Plus. And the reason why I say it's crappy is because the location services that they used made it to where if your location was displayed incorrectly, like let's say it like tried to find it and it found it incorrectly, like mine, I'll just I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. My location was showing that it was Kansas, Kansas, which Kansas isn't a city. I mean, yes, Kansas City is a city, but like Kansas as a state, as your city or wherever neighboring thing it is not a city. And so the problem with that was if the location wasn't showing up right, it would say, "Hey, pay for our subscription," even though you already paid for it. Like it doesn't literally say that, but it just says, "Hey, pay for our subscription," so that you could actually access this stuff. And that really threw me and my father off, and I was very upset and toasty. But yes, uh, NFL Sunday Ticket leaving DirecTV is a is probably a very big blow to AT&T and whatnot, but honestly, I see the Sunday Ticket as being more of a benefit for like Apple or Amazon. Disney, I
yeah,
don't know.
well, Disney could, but the problem is that most of those games are on either CBS or Fox.
Or it would be like
So
on ESPN Plus, if anything.
yeah, yeah, that would be primarily where you would really think it would probably end up going if it were Disney. Um, but we lose out on some of the amazing commercials that came along with such as the Rob Lowe commercials or the football on your phone commercial with Peyton and Eli.
Just watch Peyton and Eli for God's sake. Watch the highlights. You don't need commercials for that.
But what would you think that Alexander Graham Bell would? What do you think? What would Alexander Graham Bell think of the football on your phone thing? Who cares? Dude's dead.
Also, how would you get a screen on that big brass phone of his?
that
Jesus.
is that is true. That is true. But we had to. But I had to mention that in there that this was such a thing.
You just have like the peanuts of Charlie's mom just going wah 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 the whole time.
Oh my goodness. Oh, but fantasy football analyst Matthew Berry is leaving ESPN after 15 years because of other pursuits of bigger future plans. I mean, not a bad thing. I mean, Matthew Berry's been at it for a while, and Matthew Berry is normally one of the more credible fantasy football experts that I've noticed out there. So, but it's hard, but it'll be very very hard to kind of see like, oh, who's going to be doing this new stuff for ESPN now? Because sometimes it's like, oh, you just want to kind of look at certain things as far as that would go throughout your season, and Matthew Berry usually would have a pretty decent love hate list.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with him, but I can see what you're coming through as um your experiences have been
Yeah,
for that.
I've played for years. I play with a former coworker of mine, and we play in an 18 friends and family league of his. That the requirement for me was kind of knowing half the league, and half the league involved his parents and his girlfriends along with him. So it kind of
Yeah.
his girlfriend. Yeah, so that kind of so me playing softball with him one year, like one summer, and actually knowing who they were, it's like, okay, now I can hop into this league, and this year I will be picking second overall, and we play on flea flickers, so it's like a whole new, like a whole different style of league, and it's been quite fun. It's been quite fun playing with them over the last like 6 or 7 years. Although I end up getting Mike Evans just about every year, and I kind of don't want to get him this year because I always seem to end up having him, and I kind of like, can I please just have somebody else?
Just get Chris Evans. He's got a shield. He's got superpowers. Who needs Mike Evans when you got Chris Evans?
The difference is that Mike Evans is a receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So as enticing as it is for me to pick him up,
I love how you just like killed my joke right there. I appreciate it.
yeah, I knew where you were going with that. It's just I didn't want to go the Paul Rudd thing of like talking about America.
Ruckus causing a ruckus as always.
Oh my. But really, another monumental milestone has happened in terms of the NFL franchises as the Raiders hire Sandra Douglas Morgan to be their team president. She is the first African American woman to hold the title for any NFL team. So it's really going to be nice to see how she's able to make this she's groundbreaking already. But I think it almost has me at a point of intrigue for what she is going to do with the Las Vegas Raiders in that role.
Hire a coach that isn't a creepy piece of crap. Check.
Well, John Gruden may have even had like some other like long-standing type issues as far as that oversight. Like it very well could have been like some of the stuff there may have been obtained illegally, but it's like it brought out a lot of things that came into light about the Commander's report. So really, it really set a lot of like the mess in DC in motion.
Well, not only that, like Gruden wasn't uh the best like behaving person ever either. So like that's what I meant by that. So
That is true.
I don't know. There isn't a whole lot of. I mean, there was a big whole like coach hiring of things. Like I think actually they did hire a coach. They hired God dang it! Why can't I remember his name? The guy that was the offensive coordinator for the Patriots that also played head
Oh,
coach for the.
Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was thinking of a
also
mixed name, but I didn't want to like. I was thinking of Dave McDaniels for some reason. I don't know
also
why.
known as the guy that tried to do the Tim Tebow experiment.
He's got Derek
Yes,
Carr for that. Also known as Patrick Mahomes' son, according to How About Those Chiefs. Shout out to them or him, the
but
red bearded man.
where I was going with that was that it was Josh McDaniel. It was Josh McDaniels, also known as the guy that's the coach behind the Tim Tebow experiment.
Yeah, I personally, I don't know. I knew him more as the guy that was on the New England Patriots as the offensive
Yeah.
coordinator,
Oh yeah,
and
I knew
he
that
was
as
a
well.
mastermind for that.
Yeah, I knew that as well, but he was hired on to Denver because of that time in New England. It was just that within that first little bit of time, he had the inspiration to draft Tim Tebow.
Also,
And
when did Peyton Manning come through? Like, was that after? Because wasn't it like Vic Fangio or somebody at that
no,
point?
no, Fangio was much later. There was the window I think consisted really of Peyton Manning Peyton Manning losing out the 20 I think it was the 2011-2012 season
It was
because of
John
his
Fox.
Yeah, it was John Fox. Well, John Fox was the first coach, but then it became Gary Kubiak. But I was saying that kind of like following where Peyton Manning fit in that timeline. It was the 2011-2012 season because I was a senior in college at the time when Peyton Manning was out for that entire season with his neck surgery.
Yeah.
So he did not get to Denver until 2012. So that Tebow window consisted right around that 2009 to 2011, or actually 2012 type window.
Yeah, because he didn't come back to like 2012 to 2013 afterwards because Luck was already a Colt at that point.
Well, Luck was drafted because the Colts had the number 1 overall pick. Peyton Manning was not kept by Irsay. Elway wanted to sign a big name quarterback. Peyton Manning enter Peyton Manning, exit, and RIP to the Tim Tebow experiment in Denver.
The
They
Tim
shipped him
Tebow.
off. They shipped him off to the Jets, then Patriots. Then he tried to play baseball for the Mets, for the Mets farm system,
And
and
then he
then
tried to
other
be
than
a tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
then there was that too. But we all know that Tim Tebow was not going to get welcomed to tight end university.
Also, uh, uh, current Denver Broncos quarterback wants you to ride with him. Let's ride. Let's ride. Let's ride.
You talking Russ?
Let's ride.
No, you let him cook. He's cooking, not writing.
Let's ride, Denver. Let's ride. Let's ride.
What are you?
I'm
What?
playing the promo thing that he did on Twitter that everybody was cringing about because he like had to repeat it a bunch of times. It was funny. Okay. Let's ride. Let's ride. Let's ride. That's literally how it was. I'm not making this up. Are you okay, Spedis?
Just
Are you cringing a
I
little
don't
bit?
know. I don't know what to kind of make of this. It's like you're going through this whole thing, and I'm just like, the the
That's
world are
what
you doing?
everybody else was thinking whenever the Denver Broncos Twitter account pulled that. They're like, "Let it was just literally Russ holding a football going, let's ride." And it was like one of those hype up videos that they would play if like I guess either they wanted people to stand up or something or get hyped during the game. He was just like, "Denver, let's ride."
Oh
You're
yeah.
welcome. A little cringe
Yeah.
fuel.
Oh yeah. You're coming along with that. Oh yeah. It's these green screen things.
Yes, exactly.
I. It's like no, no.
Let's
Like
let's ride.
it. Ruckus. I will book a plane ticket, get over there to KC, find where you're at, and Will Smith the crap out of you if you keep this up.
I dare you.
This is this is not this is not kind of the thing.
Oh,
I mean,
and while you're on that plane, you'll just see a like a little. I'll send you like the meme of the Let's Ride, and then you'll have more nightmare fuel to where you just Will Smith slap the crap out of me. You're welcome.
this is just no, no, no. You're I could completely like
Let's ride.
look. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm gonna go through this. I'm like, now I can't unsee this crap.
You're welcome.
This is like I know where you were trying to go, and it's just it ain't it. I mean, this whole thing of let Russ cook was honestly better than this let's ride crap.
Well, maybe you gotta like send a complaint to the Denver Broncos Twitter account. I don't know. Maybe that guy got fired. Who knows? But it was also obviously cringy, and like after
was
that,
probably some stupid intern.
they probably just thought it was a cool little sneak peek, and then like the intern was like, "Lol, let's like make them think it's cool," and then turns out it's cringy, and then everybody looks at it.
Kind of like Drake's music.
Are we talking after summer 2016, or just in general?
I was I would say anything. I almost would go just about anything after Nothing Was the Same, but unless there was something like really notable for like maybe 0 to 100 was kind of like the last like solid thing, which I think was right around that. But
I
0 to 100
loved I
wasn't
love
even
Summer
on an album.
16.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a certain point where Drake's music gets cringy. There's a certain point where Kanye's music gets cringy. I think there's always that certain bit of time where an artist's music will get cringy. But it's mostly those that just don't know what to do with it. Or Drake in this case, like perpetuating like every single hit out and then just releasing it all those hits, all those singles into an album that you really just no longer feel inclined to play over and over again because you just listened to those hits the whole months before the album came out. Yes, I'm looking at Scorpion in this case because that's exactly what happened with Scorpion. But I digress. And now that we've kind of done enough cringing at this point, we now are going to go into sport history where I only have 3 things for this. And all of these sport events happened on July 13th. In 1930, the first ever FIFA World Cup was held in Uruguay. In 1934, Babe Ruth hit career home run number 700. And in 1994, Tanya Harding's ex-husband was sentenced to 2 years in prison for his role in the attack of Nancy Kerrigan. I'm sure, Ruckus, with this last one, that you may or may not have been familiar with it because what year were you born?
97.
Yeah, this would have been just a little bit before your time frame. So pretty much with you seeing that there, it would be the movie I, Tanya would probably give, or like I think there's
Uh,
also a 30 for 30. I think there was also a 30 for 30 that ESPN did about this very incident. I was a kid when it happened, so I really didn't know exactly like a whole lot behind it. But it but I think the movie, or I think the things that best would portray it and explain it for you would be that 30 for 30 or I, Tanya.
or looking it up on the internet.
Well, there's that too, but I'm saying like I think I, Tanya would give you an adaptation, and then really I think if there was a 30 for 30 on it, it would give you like a little bit more of like a deep dive about kind of the ins and outs on it.
So someone literally gets sent to murder
Or like
Tanya.
to injure Nancy Kerrigan, so that it basically was a hit to injure Nancy Kerrigan done by orchestrated by Tanya Harding and her ex-husband to kind of get Tanya Harding into the Olympics,
Some
the
cold
Winter
stuff,
Olympics.
man. Cold stuff.
Yep. But now that we've gotten through sport history, we now go to the high heat,
High
and
heat.
we are throwing some major cheese with this one
I just have a
because we
fork ball because I like to eat.
bro.
I'm sorry. All right, let's go
I was
into it.
trying to go with like the fastball, but I mean to throw the forkball in there, I'm like that was a little bit of a. I mean, forkball is also a changeup, so
The more you
kind of
know.
worked. But we're now going to be talking about what's going to be coming up here within the next few days, which is the MLB Allstar break and kind of the home run derby and All-Star game, everything. But first we're gonna go really into actually Monday night. I think we're gonna start with Monday night, the home run derby. So and there's quite a bit of star power here. So here is the field for the 2022 home run derby. You have Pete Alonso, the polar bear, Childish Bambino, Juan Soto, the Machine, Albert Pujols, Ronald Acuna Jr., Kyle Schwarber of the Phillies, Jose Ramirez of the Guardians, and the rookie Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners. One, two,
Why
three,
did I
four,
not see
five,
Jose
six,
Ramirez in
seven.
there?
Jose Ramirez was kind of the last one there, and I think we have one more, and at this point you also have one more spot, which kind of could consist of possibly a Miguel Cabrera. MLB says they will need 3 more contestants to fill out the bracket. I'm like, wait, there's 7 names here.
Cody Bellinger, man, I'm telling you, he needs to be in the Derby. That'd be so much fun to see him. And also,
Uh,
he would be representing the Dodgers too, which would be even better.
well, you have Giancarlo Stanton, who's hinted at he might partake this year.
Well, does
I
that
think
mean that he would partake and then be injured the rest of the season?
who knows?
Because
But
whenever
I
he
mean,
did it with the Marlin, or as a Marlin in 2016, he ended up pulling a hammy or whatever, and then just being out for the rest of the year. And that was before he
yeah,
was traded to New York.
yeah, because I saw him in 2017, and I actually was down close enough that I could hear the ball come off of his bat. For a home run ball that he hit actually in game, you could hear it was loud enough that once you heard the ball come off the bat, it was gone. Like as soon as you heard it in the ringing that came from the crack of the bat, you hear that within seconds it was gone.
Dude, he looks like he'd be good at golf just by his swing alone.
So I mean, Giancarlo Stanton has considered it. I think a couple of other players I would love to see maybe consider. I don't know if Austin Riley turned it down. I think Miggy shouldn't do this. But
What about
I
Jake
think
Cronenworth of the Padres?
mm, I like Jake Cronenworth. I don't think like hitting home runs at that high volume of rate is probably going to be solid for him. But I think Giancarlo Stanton will probably be the one that does it because there needs to be more AL representation
What about
in
Vlad
the
Guerrero Jr.?
I don't know if Vlad Jr. I don't know if Vlad Jr. will do it. I don't know
Because
if
he
Vlad
had a
Jr.
hell of a standing against Pete Alonso the last time they did that.
I think if Vlad Jr. did it again, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think there's still a few other things that can kind of come along. But based off of who you already see here, who do you think's going to take it a long way?
Um, I'm gonna go with the reigning 2-time champ Pete Alonso. He could also just like kind of take it easier than he did beforehand. I knew last year whenever Shohei competed, he was probably gonna be like a early scratch because of just how his stance is just physically. Because his stance is like a bunch of movements, and if you do that over like a period of time, like extensively, you're gonna get tired quicker than if you just had like a simple stance, kind of
Which
like
one
Pete
are you
Alonso
speaking of
has.
there? Which
What do
who
you
are you
mean?
speaking of? Like, who are you speaking on there?
Shohei Otani.
Oh, oh, Shohei Otani. Yeah.
Yeah, like his stance is like super like extensive to where like if you do that for an extended period of time, you're gonna get more tired than if you're like Pete Alonso where he has like a simple stance where it's more just like he's just lining
Oh,
up his shot and then just going ham with it like quickly, kind of like Trout does, where like he just kind of like looks and then he like lines his bat up with the ball and then just cooks it.
oh, Shohei also adds torque with his hips. So
Well, yeah,
really,
but with that torque though, you still have like the risk of just the tearing or not the tearing, like the tiring over time. Like the stamina is not gonna be there the whole time while you're trying to hit like multiple homers. Like
yeah, I would.
you saw it in Colorado last year. He was gassed near like the 3/4 point that he had for the time.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you, and I would take Pete Alonso as well. But I think if he, but I think if he gets a very good like set of balls to blast, I think Kyle Schwarber could have a shot depending on how the bracket's structured. I also could say Juan Soto could have a shot based on the bracket structure.
Juan Solo would be an interesting one because he actually beat the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium when the Nationals beat them to go on their World Series run. But that's just me saying like experience as far as like the ballpark itself, not just because he won a division series with the Nationals. But I don't know. Dodger Stadium is a very interesting park. Yes, there's some longer areas like center field for the most part is like probably the farthest you could go. Left field and right field are pretty shallow, especially like near the foul poles. It to me it feels like a blueprint of what Angel Stadium was going to be because they both kind of seem similar in a sense as far as the stadium besides like the decorative stuff in the outfield and whatnot. It just seems like they're about similar.
Yeah. I mean, and Dodger Stadium is pretty symmetrical too. So it kind
Yeah.
of gives for a little bit of balance there. But now we go to the AL and NL rosters for the All-Star game. All right, Ruckus, who are you which ones would you like to unveil? Would you like to unveil the American League or the National League?
Um Go ahead and unveil the National League.
All right. So, the NL starters for the All-Star game. At catcher will be Wilson Contreras of the Chicago Cubs. At first base for the St. Louis Cardinals, Paul Goldschmidt. At second base from the Miami Marlins, Jazz Chisholm. At third base from the San Diego Padres, Manny Machado. At shortstop from the Dodgers, Trey Turner. The outfielders from the Atlanta Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr. From the Dodgers, Mookie Betts, and from the Giants, Jock Peterson, and the designated hitter who will miss the game due to his injury from the Philadelphia Phillies, Bryce Harper. Your AL starters are take it away, Ruckus.
Give me a moment. All right. So your AL starters at catcher you have Orlando Kirk. At first base you have Vlad Guerrero Jr.
You
At
mean Alejandro Kirk?
whatever. No disrespect to Alejandro Kirk. But yeah. Second base we have Jose Altuve. Third base we have Rafael Devers. Shortstop
You
we
were
have
you were able to get Vlad Jr. in there, right?
yep.
All right.
I
Keep
got
going.
Rafi Devers. I got Tim Anderson. I got the outfielders Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, Mike Trout of the Los Angeles Angels, and Mike Stanton of the New York Yankees, also known as
All of
Giancarlo
them,
Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton,
Um, and then your designated hitter is Shohei Ohtani, but
who also made it in as a pitcher.
yeah, I don't know if he's going to if he's going to pull what they did last year, where they like had him as a DH but also a pitcher. But and then your legacy selection is designated hitter Miguel Cabrera, and the legacy selection obviously for the NL was Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
Um,
It looks like they also well, I'll mention that with the NL reserves. Um, Go ahead and finish up your AL reserves.
I have the catcher Jose Trevino, which is his first All-Star appearance. Luis Arraez from the Minnesota Twins. Andres Jimenez as a second baseman for the Cleveland Guardians. Jose Ramirez from the Cleveland Guardians. Xander Bogaerts from Boston Red Sox. Byron Buxton. Kyle Tucker. George Springer. The Kansas City Royals only pick for the All-Star game, Andrew Benintendi. Outfielder Julio Rodriguez, his first All-Star game as a rookie. Yordan Alvarez and JD Martinez.
Well, Jordan will miss the game due to an injury, which means that JD Martinez entered in as a replacement. And the legacy pick, yes, was Miguel Cabrera for you. All right, so my NL reserves for the at catcher, Travis d'Arnaud of the Braves. The infielders from the St. Louis Cardinals, Nolan Arenado. From the Mets, the Polar Bear, Pete Alonso, and Jeff McNeil. From the Colorado Rockies, CJ Crone. And from the Atlanta Braves, Dansby Swanson. In the outfield, from the Philadelphia Phillies, Kyle Schwarber. From the Nationals, Childish Bambino, Juan Soto. From the New York Mets, Starling Marte. From the Chicago Cubs, Ian Happ. The designated hitter that will be replacing Bryce Harper is Garrett Cooper of the Miami Marlins. And the replacement for Bryce Harper will be William Contreras. The Contreras brothers will be the first set of brothers to start in the All-Star game together since Roberto and Sandy Alomar in 1992. So this is this is the first time that brothers have started in 30 years for the same team. So that to me is exciting. That brothers will be getting involved together. So Ruckus, go ahead and give your pitchers list for the American League.
All right, I'm going to start off with the starting pitchers. So we have our law is Ellen right? Just yeah. Left-handed pitcher Shane McCallahan of the Tampa Bay Rays. Right-handed pitcher Justin Verlander of the Houston Astros. Right-handed pitcher Alex Manoah of the Toronto Blue Jays. You got the lefty Nestor Cortez. For some reason I thought it was Nestler, but Nestor Cortez. You got your righty Garrett Cole, Shohei Ohtani, Paul Blackburn, and then you got your two lefties, Martin Perez, which is on his first All-Star stint, and then Framber Valdez. And then your relievers, you have Clay Holmes of the New York Yankees, a righty, Emmanuel Clase of the Guardians, Jorge Lopez of the Baltimore Orioles, and then Gregory Soto of the Detroit Tigers. Go
And,
Tigers!
and a notable statistic here for Shohei Ohtani here. This is the second straight season that Ohtani was chosen as both a designated hitter and a pitcher. No one else has ever had that happen once. Okay, so here's the National League pitchers. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw and Tony Gonsolin. And the debate here is that because this game will be held at Chavez Ravine, does the National League start Clayton Kershaw, or do you go with 11-0 Tony Gonsolin, or this pitcher from the Miami Marlins, Sandy Alcantara, from the Milwaukee Brewers, Corbin Burns, also Josh Hader, but he will miss the game due to being on MLB's bereavement list.
What did he do with?
From the,
Isn't bereavement like if you?
if a family member of yours passes away.
Okay, I thought bereavement to me sounds like like you did something illegal or something. I don't know. Go ahead.
No. This is due to a close person of Hader passing away. From the Cincinnati Reds, Luis Castillo. From the Atlanta Braves, Max Fried. From the San Diego Padres, Joe Musgrove. From the New York Mets, Edwin Diaz. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Ryan Helsley. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, David Bednar. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, Joe Mantiply. And the replacement for Hader will be from the San Francisco Giants, Carlos Rodon.
I was
So
about to
actually,
say he was gonna be a snub according to a bunch of other articles, and I was honestly curious on how Bryce Harper would play because obviously he's gonna be gone for a while with a broken thumb. So I was like, damn, are they gonna like have it in a
yep.
cast while he plays?
Oh, well, that's where William Contreras came in. Pujols and Miggy as the legacy players. But then here are some notable All-Star snubs that I see, or that I kind of see according to some other things that I figured, hey, let's kind of figure that these guys probably should have made it. In the National League, I see third baseman Austin Riley.
That's most definitely a snub for sure.
From the Seattle Mariners, Ty France. Freddie Freeman was snubbed. But I think in Freddie's case, it was because there's so many good first basemen, especially in the National League.
Well, like
For the
in general, these other teams are loaded with talent too, not just
yeah.
that.
For the Chicago White Sox, Dylan Cease. The resume, a 2.545 ERA and 133 Ks in 92 innings. Not chosen. And what was funny about Austin Riley's was like dude's hitting 282 with 23 dingers and 56 RBIs. Really? Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon eventually got in as a replacement.
Yeah, he
But
was originally slated as a snub, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. But Seattle starting pitcher Logan Gilbert was a 10-3 record and a 2.80 ERA weren't enough. Kevin Gausman didn't make it. Brandon Drury of the Reds missed the cut. Career high 18 home runs and 50 RBIs are 13 short of his best from 2017. And he's hitting 277 but doesn't go. For the Milwaukee Brewers, Devin Williams. And then for the New York Yankees, Michael King. So there were definitely some notable names that missed the cut for the All Star game that just makes you go, did some of the voting get it right? Or more oftentimes than not, you end up with teams voting for their players, or a lot of people voting for like certain stars.
I think it comes to like the people's vote because they have a lot of opportunities to vote per day, and also you don't know how to like regulate that besides just the fact of so many people can vote per day. But you could also make multiple accounts and just put more effort into it if
Yeah,
your heart's desire. And there's obviously bots that could probably do that too, where you could like assign it different things. But this is me as an IT guy talking, so like
yeah,
it's happened before, not just for like little things like voting that make a big difference, but like back in the, like a couple of years ago, there was no such thing as buying a GPU for MSRP for a graphics card. I ended up spending 2 grand on a GPU that is now about barely a grand MSRP. So if that tells you
yeah,
anything, the supply shortage on that was crazy, but also people use bots for really anything. Like you could use it to like buy really expensive shoes and then sell them. There's literally like tutorials on how to make a bot through an Amazon uh server that you just like kind of get through their AWS thing, or just in general with like any kind of cloud service. Like it's inevitable is what I should say, not inedible. But yeah, like what I'm trying to say is it could have been skewed, and but it is what it is. People want to vote for their favorite people. I'm not gonna knock them for it. I'm not gonna be like, how dare you vote for your favorite player? Like, there was enough people that voted. It is what it is.
You know what we forgot to put in? I'm gonna say this. You know what we also forgot to put in the weekly lineup that probably should have been noted? The Blue
What is
Jays
that?
fired
Oh
Charlie Montoyo.
yeah, I
Yeah, the
kind of
Montoyo
forgot about
firing
that.
happened today. Yeah, teams 46 and 42, but due to the struggles leading up to that point and kind of underperforming, Montoyo gets fired. So a lot of these Blue Jays are kind of under like a weird mental state, and that everything is completely shifted and changed up. But now that I'm kind of throwing it in there, we've kind of really wrapped up a lot of the all star things. But we now got to talk the uniforms. Are we rocking those or are we dropping them?
I love the fact that they didn't just like, because last year wasn't it they did like American and National League, and it was just like those jerseys, or did they literally like put it? They just had it stock as whatever their jersey was that they wore as a ball club, because that's
I think
usually
they
what
might
ends
have
up
won it.
happening.
Yeah, honestly, I love it when the players actually step out and they kind of like do their own like have like their own uniform there and kind of have like two different themes going on like have them wear their own specific uniform, but they have like these American National League things that they usually would wear during the
It
Derby.
To me it feels special that they like put it in a gold charm like they do, because like usually the only way other than that you would get that is if your team won the World Series, and then they're trying to commemorate or celebrate the
Right.
fact that they
Yeah.
won it, and then they have like the gold lettering on where their logo and stuff would be. Like for the Royals it was like they had the gold lettering for the Royals logo, and then they had the gold cap and whatnot, and then like the same goes for like the Braves or like other teams that have recently won it.
Yep.
Like, but like for this, it feels special because you're an all-star, and it just shows like, hey, I'm a pretty badass player that just balled out, and now I've earned it. It's no longer an, oh, you get this dumb little like these like two little stars on the back of your jersey. and here you go. Like, it feels more special, and I like that they did that. And I'd honestly rock them if I wanted to buy them. But
Right,
at the
yeah.
same time, I only have one jersey that I would have to buy, and that's Andrew Benintendi's. But I already have Benintendi's number since I bought the Nike City Connect jersey. But yeah,
Yeah.
they look beautiful nonetheless. I would buy them.
Yep. And now we go to setting the lineup. Now that we've completed the high heat, we're doing the setting the lineup, which is usually a weekly segment where Ruckus and I have a start bench cut scenario. But today's is a little different. You also for this can also give us like, hey, for this of what we're gonna do is a would you rather Baker Mayfield edition. And basically with this, it's do we take X person or Baker Mayfield? So you also can throw players of this either in the content of like certain players you want to kind of have as do of that particular magnitude as well. Also on the comment section of YouTube. So these are things that you guys can do to kind of give us a little bit more to work with throughout the week. And kind of a little bit of crowdsourcing and if you do submit one in, we will shout you out. So that's a big thing here is that this week is would you rather Baker Mayfield edition. Is it going to be Baker Mayfield? And do we want to go ahead and begin now, Ruckus?
All right. So, would you
I was going to
rather have Baker Mayfield or these assortment of quarterbacks?
say Cam Newton.
Um, I don't know, but here it goes. Yeah, you said Cam
Yeah,
Newton, Mac
yeah. I said Cam.
Jones.
Well. No, you go through each one and kind of pick it, kind of pick between them that way. I mean, you're starting lightning wise
Oh,
that
okay,
way.
my bad. I was just kind of
That's how
like,
this is. That's how that's supposed to work.
okay, I was just kind of announcing what they all
That was why
were.
I said Cam Newton. That's why I said Cam Newton, and that's where
No.
I actually would take. I actually think maybe taking Cam Newton wouldn't be a bad idea. So you're saying you would take Baker Mayfield over Cam Newton?
If Cam Newton was a young stud and his shoulder wasn't screwed up, then I definitely would take him. But here's the thing: are we talking now, or are we talking like different genres, like different?
Say, I would say now, but I think Baker's shoulder's just as messed up as Newton's is, or they're
Baker
both
is a lot
recovering from.
younger. Baker is a lot younger. Let's put it that way. Cam Newton still had a failed season. Yet Cam Newton has been to the Super Bowl, even though he lost that Super Bowl. Like Baker hasn't gone to one, but he's still young. That's why
This
I'm
is
kind of like, this is why I was like, okay, Baker would probably be a little bit better at this point, but go
this
on.
is definitely like a huge wild. Like these two are definitely huge wild card personality wise too. But I think overall, I think you take Newton over Baker just simply because Newton is also bigger. Is also bigger in terms of size and being able to break some of these defenders tackles or kind of do things. And I think he could get the ball out a little bit more accurately than a Baker Mayfield could. Mac Jones.
He's a lot younger, definitely. Doesn't have a lot of playoff experience, but definitely still young. Eh, I would say Baker on that one.
Under the right system, you take Mac Jones. I think under the right system, I take Mac Jones. It's a little too situational. I'd probably go Baker. Jalen Hurts.
Baker. Jalen Hurts is a noodle arm dog.
I think if you give him the right set of receivers and make it a little bit more West Coast, I think you probably go Jalen Hurts.
But
But
also,
I
if you
pro-
put Andy Reid on the Philadelphia Eagles coaching side, maybe. But yeah, like Jalen Hurts, I don't know. Even if you had one more significant wide receiver like they did during the draft, whenever they did that draft trade, I still don't have a good feeling about it. It's kind of
yeah,
like having Tua Tagovailoa with Tyreek Hill, but anyways.
yeah. I probably I probably would softly take Jalen Hurts because I think you could probably scheme around him a little bit better than you could Baker. Carson Wentz.
Baker.
Oh, I think you take Carson here. I think you take Carson. I think Carson Wentz overall is a little bit more polished.
I don't know, dude. Carson Wentz
The,
stood on the bench whenever his team won the Super Bowl.
that was
And
that was because Carson Wentz was hurt.
he's
That was
injury
because
prone.
Carson.
Baker Mayfield has never really been injury prone until now when it came to his shoulder, which we don't even know what's really actually going on with that. And Baker is with a new team and whatever, but like still like Baker Mayfield hasn't really had the support that he's had when it came to wide receivers or really anything else resourceful wise. Yes, he had running backs, but that's like maybe a quarter of your job as a quarterback is feeding it to your running back, establishing the run. The rest of it is actually throwing the damn ball. I feel like
And
Carson Wentz kind of didn't do a very good job with that in Indianapolis, and he ended up losing against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is a clown of a franchise. That's why I say that. But
but
yeah,
I think you, I think ultimately, I think Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz is probably. I would probably more so on a safer sense because of the arm strength, and I think the amount of work ethic that's going to come from the receivers that he has or that he will have in DC, and that line that can do just enough, and also having solid running backs that can catch out of the backfield and be able to run the football. I think Carson Wentz has a little like yeah, Baker Mayfield's going to have DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and a Christian McCaffrey or a Chuba Hubbard. But
didn't
other than a
Christian
lot
Kirk
of
get signed by the Jaguars?
it was the Jaguars, but we're talking the
I always get
Panthers
them.
here.
Yeah, I always get them mixed up. That's why I mentioned that. But yeah.
McCaffrey's a running back.
No, I'm not talking about McCaffrey. I'm talking about Christian Kirk. For some reason, I mixed up the Jaguars with the Panthers. That's what I meant to say. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I probably in terms of arm strength will probably go I think arm strength and being able to get the ball out there a little bit more. I think Carson Wentz has a stronger arm than Baker Mayfield. Matty Ice, Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan for sure.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
he gave up a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, but he's got it, dude.
yeah, and I'm sorry. I think I take Matt Ryan in that, and I actually do not blame Matt Ryan for any of that in Super Bowl in that Super Bowl against the Patriots because Kyle Shanahan messed with that. Kyle Shanahan messed with the juju on that one, not Matt Ryan. Kyler Murray.
I would personally, so this is how I see it. So Kyler Murray, he started the game, that senior game for OU, while Baker was on the sideline because obviously he wasn't allowed to start his senior game. So they put out Kyler Murray for a little bit, and then they put Baker in. Kyler is a freaking stud. He can run the ball. Yes, he's not like what people say like a quarterback should be, but he can chuck the ball a mile away to DeAndre Hopkins. But this dude can fly too. Like this guy is like if let's say if Tyreek Hill was a quarterback, that's Kyler Murray. He can freaking run the ball and chuck it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So If I had to choose between Kyler and Baker, I would definitely choose Kyler because he could run away, kind of like how Pat Mahomes does, but he's got the speed.
All right, we're kind of gonna have to go a little bit more lightning round here.
Okay,
I mean, I'm taking Kyler here, but Jimmy Garoppolo.
Baker,
I'm taking Jimmy G. Even with the shoulder issue, I'm taking Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G overall at a net, I think carries a higher floor than Baker has a ceiling. Trey Lance.
Baker,
I think I'm gonna safely take Baker here. Geno Smith.
Baker,
Baker. Yep. Zach Wilson.
Baker,
I think I'm gonna have to probably go Baker just because of the body of work. Sam Darnold.
Baker.
Baker. Tua Tagovailoa. Tua.
Can't pronounce him, but Baker.
Yeah. Baker. I think I'm probably gonna safely go Baker here. Danny Dimes. Daniel Jones.
More like Danny turnaround. Baker.
Yeah. Baker. Kirk Cousins.
Baker.
I actually am gonna take Kirk Cousins here. Cousins does make a lot of bad throws, but I think Cousins overall is a better quarterback overall than Baker Mayfield. Justin Fields.
Let's see Justin Fields if he had a good offensive line and people to throw to you.
Yeah, with the right, yeah, that'd be another type of thing there. I'd be thinking the same thing. Marcus Mariota.
Baker.
Yeah, yeah, Mariota. Just the body of work's not there. Taysom Hill.
Get out of here with that tight end. I'm going Baker.
Jameis Winston.
Famous, more like famous for throwing interceptions. Baker.
I'm actually gonna take Jameis here.
Boo.
I'm taking
Boo.
Jameis because Jameis was actually not having a bad season in New Orleans before he got hurt.
Well, he also still had some rough games, and yes, you'll have rough games as a quarterback, but even then, if you count like his Buccaneers times, he was pretty bad.
I mean, but that was prior to the LASIK.
You could blame it on a lot of things.
Oh, the LASIK helped more than it hurt.
But now he's hurt.
Oh, but he'll be back. I think he's actually already set the back. But now it is time for the simulation. And I was actually shocked that it came out of nowhere that the Home Run Derby X cards came out over this past weekend. Now, if you guys missed that, too late. It's too late.
You can still buy the cards on the
You can still
marketplace.
buy the card. You can still buy the cards, but in order to do all the stuff to get them for free, it's too late. Double XP was in starting yesterday, as it is the last week before the program ends. The program will end July 18th, right around the time of the Allstar break. So chances are we're going to be dealing with the All-Star program. We're going to be pretty much confirming the announcement of the All-Star program and what the heck is in it starting next week. And my runs in Diamond Dynasty right now, I have had so much of a run in grabbing headliners, it is not even funny. Like anything that has not been pulled out of a Ballin' as a Habit pack or a live or a show or like a standard show pack, I can't even pull chase packs.
I got one recently, but like, it wasn't anything special.
Yeah. but I have done a lot of different collections. I have completed now. If I now officially have the Takashi Babe Ruth. I also now have the cover athlete Joe Mauer because I spent the stubs. I now have the always intense Mookie Betts in my lineup. I have the home run derby X Adrian Gonzalez. I also just pulled in another headliner, the 96 overall Nolan Gorman.
Good for you.
I have Lightning Jordan already. I already picked up my two players from the Sizzling Summer. I took Honus Wagner and the Pizza Man, the 96 overall Mike Piazza. So my catcher, so I have basically my end game catcher set right now. I don't think my catchers are going to change that much for the rest of the year.
I got my catcher set. It's called MJ Melendez. Dude, his futures card is stacked. Like I don't know. I never like miss when it comes to MJ. His like hitting is like ridiculous. Like yes, he's a future star and he plays for the Royals, but he can rake in this game. You ready for the war room?
Yeah, but I'm kind of adjusting. Yeah, I was kind of doing some adjustment. But
Want me to explain it?
yep, the war room. Go ahead.
This week's War Room will be an MLB All-Star by resume. All players in this must have played in at least one MLB All-Star game. Me and Spenis will give each other a description about a resume of a player's career. The other will have to guess which player matches the resume given. Most points win.
All right. So we have 5 each here for this. And my question to you, Ruckus, is which player are you wanting to hear from me first? A, B, C, D, or E?
All the above. E.
Oh, well, we're going to have to start with one here.
Oh, I was making the joke as E would be all the above because, you know, D is
Yeah.
kind of like that, but yeah, multiple choice.
Yep. Yep. So which player are you going to take first?
E.
Take player E. Okay. This player is a 9-time All-Star and a Hall of Famer. He is a World Series champion. The year I will give you is 1978 for this.
Where did he play?
He played for 9 different teams in his career.
Can you tell me what
Uh,
team he played for though?
a couple you're wanting the team that he won the World Series with?
Sure.
Okay. Just one moment here. He won his World Series as a Yankee. Saved 310 games with a 124 and 107 record and a career 3.01 ERA. And he was a Rolaids Reliever of the Year award winner in 1978.
Who is Lefty Grove?
Lefty Grove. Lefty Grove was older. Lefty Grove was older than that.
This tells you how much I know about the 70s
I
baseball.
mean, here's the thing. And I was also going to mention that this player is in MLB The Show and was at one time a former boss in a program. but I don't think he played MLB 19 where he was a boss in the program.
Yeah, I didn't
But
even have a
but
PlayStation.
but there were multiple teams that he played for that I think he's had cards for. His highest overall cards have come from him playing as a New York Yankee, but we have we have seen cards for him played for the San Diego Padres, but he has also played for the Chicago White Sox, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Chicago Cubs, the San Francisco Giants, has had 2 stints with the Yankees, the Texas Rangers, Oakland Athletics, and Seattle Mariners.
I couldn't tell you who it was, to be honest. I give
It
up.
is it is Goose Gossage.
Ah, the goose.
Yes, it is Goose Gossage.
Dang it. Oh well.
I also would have said that his nickname also was a character from also was based on a character from was also used as a character in Top Gun. So you
Oh
did
well.
not so you did not get player E. All right, Ruckus, what you got for me?
Alright, here we go. So, your first one. This man was a 5-time All-Star and a 2010 World Series MVP.
You don't have a further expansion of the resume?
He was a shortstop that played for the team that won the 2010 World Series. He played for the Giants.
I knew that. You didn't give me Brandon Crawford off the rip, did you?
Nope. That is negatory.
Brandon Crawford was too late. Hmm. Yeah, I think honestly, when I was trying to say like the resumes, I mean, you gave like a whole bunch of what are things there, but I think you probably wanted to give like some like other stats along with that. That's why I was like, okay, I'm like, I knew he played for the Giants, but I'm like, okay, it was a 5-time All Star that played for the New York or played for the San Francisco Giants. But I'm like, okay, am I getting like some other specific like stats? Am I getting some like other things that could lead you to that? Like you kind of have to do a little bit more leading into a potential answer. So I'm like, okay, were there any awards? Like, were there any awards for this player? Were like Gold Gloves?
I believe there was a couple of them, but yes, I get where you're coming from on that.
Yes, that's why I was like, I kind of need a little more to kind of build off of that answer. Um, how many teams did he play for?
I believe he played for the Reds, the Giants, and probably a few other teams. Honestly, do you want me to just give it to you?
I was like career length. I was gonna kind of ask like the career length at that point, but
He's kind of a forgetful fellow. That's kind of why I put it out there. Uh, his name was Edgar Renteria.
no, no. Wait a minute. You could have given me a lot more for that because I believe he also, if I remember this right, Edgar Renteria, I believe, was also he had multiple World Series. He had multiple World Series wins. Yeah, you could have given me a whole lot more with that. I mean, yeah, he was a 5-time All-Star, but I mean, he was a World Series MVP in 2010. Okay, that's a yeah, yeah, 2 Gold Gloves, 3 Silver Sluggers,
I
but
was looking at baseballreference.com and I screwed
oh
that
yeah,
up.
here's the thing. He could have given that could have given you because here's the thing that also would have helped me. He was also on the 1997 Florida Marlins. So he's technically a two-time champ.
Was he an MVP?
No, he was the MVP of the 2010 World Series, but he was the shortstop for the 1997 Florida Marlins, who also won a World Series.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. He also played for he played for the Cardinals. He played for the Red Sox. He had a brief stint in Detroit, Atlanta. Yeah, that resume needed a little more expansion because I probably could have eventually landed on Renteria had more things
Let's.
kind of gone
I'll
gone
give
my
you.
way.
I'll give you the point for that because I feel bad, but at the same time, I should have done more research on it. But that's okay.
Yeah. These resumes needed to be more detailed.
All right. I didn't get
Just
much
just so
context on that.
yeah, there wasn't a lot of context. Yeah, all of mine should give you at least enough context to lead you to somebody.
Okay. All right. What's yours? What's your next one?
All right.
Let's do
Well,
B.
B. Okay. All right. So this player is a 10-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glove winner, also has won the Platinum Glove 4 times. A Silver Slug, he's won 1 Silver Slugger, a 2-time World Series champion, a career 278 hitter with 2,141 hits, and has 70 stolen bases in spite of not being a premier speedster. Do you want the years on the World Series?
Yes, please.
2006, 2011.
Would that be Rafael Furcal?
Incorrect. The biggest thing that I think probably should have drawn you closer to this was the number of Gold Gloves. This is Yadier Molina.
Oh, how the fu- How did he get? How did he get like 70 stolen bases?
He has 70 stolen base, but Rafael Furcal has more than 70 stolen bases.
Yeah, I was thinking like 2011 Rafael Furcal, but like
I said as
still.
70 career stolen bases in spite of
Uh,
not being. I said a career 278 hitter with 2,441 hits and 70 has 70 stolen bases in his career in in spite of not being a premier speedster. So I
dang.
mean, Yadier Molina, not necessarily known for his speed, is a catcher. As catchers are kind of not known for being very fast.
Alright.
All right. Fire off your next one there, Ruckus.
Alright. This player is a 14-time MLB Allstar and won one MVP award to his name with 13 Gold Gloves. He played for the Texas Rangers, the Miami Marlins, and the New York Yankees. He also catched.
Trying to. Does he have a World Series championship?
Yes. He
Was the year on it 2003?
probably uh sooner than that. Wait, who won the World Series in 2003?
That would be the Marlins.
Yes, sir.
That is Ivan Rodriguez.
Correct.
Yeah, you you probably could have even left it at Rangers Marlins, but he also was known for having a career also in Detroit. So
Yeah, right.
yeah,
But like
Detroit.
it wasn't that
Yeah.
significant though.
Yeah. Oh, Detroit, I think, might have been significant enough. I think maybe because of his, because I think he might have had a World Series there, or like a World
Yeah,
Series
against
appearance
the
there.
Cardinals.
Yep, in 2006. Yeah. All right. You have A, C, or D.
C.
You said C, or were you wanting D?
C.
D? Okay.
No, I said C. C as in
Oh, C?
Charlie.
C? Okay. Charlie? Yep. All right. This player is a 7-time All Star and a Hall of Famer. He has a son who is in the majors currently. He is a member of the 3,000 hit club with a career batting average of 281. He is a 5-time Silver Slugger Award winner and a 4-time Gold Glove winner. Has played in 3 different positions in his time in the majors and has been hit by a pitch 285 times in his career.
Man, I'm thinking between Biggio or Guerrero. Hmm. I'm gonna
And
say. Go ahead.
oh, go with where you're going.
Actually, can you give me some more hints, or is that all you have?
This was all that was in the resume.
Okay. I'm
This
gonna
was
go
all that
with.
was in the resume that I made.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Vlad Guerrero Jr.
You should have went with your other option.
Kevin. Dang it!
Cavan was the son.
But Craig Biggio was the
Craig
Faja.
Biggio, Craig Biggio was the father. Yes,
The
and
Faja.
yep. And here was the thing that honestly I did not put in the resume because it would have given it away. He spent his entire career with one team. I wanted to leave that out so that you so that I led you to so that I kind of left you into that little conundrum of am I going Vladimir Guerrero or Craig Biggio?
Dang it. Oh well.
Yeah,
Alright.
that was one that I was not intentionally trying to sabotage you, but I left out information so that it wasn't a giveaway.
Yeah. Alright, you ready for your next one?
Yep.
Alright. This player is from Mobile, Alabama. He's a 5-time All-Star. He played for the Royals and Mets for 17 seasons. He played center field, I should add.
Was Beltron?
Actually, it was Amos Otis. I should have added more details to it, but
Yeah, I'm like, wait. I'm like, hold up. I'm like,
Beltron was not from Mobile, Alabama. He was
yeah,
from
not
Puerto
from Mobile.
Rico.
Yeah, with Puerto Rico. But I'm like, those numbers clearly led you to add up to like Carlos Beltran.
I don't think Carlos Beltran played for 17 seasons though either.
Carlos Beltran? I mean, he played for like a significant amount of time.
Yeah, but when you think about it, he played for the Royals and then the Astros and then played a little bit for the Mets and then was injured for a good period of time.
His career spans from 1998 to 2017, and he also had stop. And he granted also had a stop. I mean, he was there with the Kansas City Royals, but also had a stop in New York.
Right.
I mean, won a World Series, but I think also, yeah, that there was a lot more information that could have led me to a Carlos Beltran type of, or like could have led me away from Carlos Beltran, but that was all kind of neither here nor there.
Alright,
All
I'll
right,
go with A on the next one.
okay. You have an 8-time All-Star, played in 4 decades with 4 different teams in his career, has the most career strikeouts and walks. He is a World Series champion with the 1969 New York Mets, has a career ERA of 3.19 with a single season low of 1.69 in 1981. All this with never winning a Cy Young Award.
Whew, that's a big one. I would have to say Tom Glavine.
Whoa, hold up. You are very much in the wrong you're pushing yourself in the
Actually,
wrong going the wrong direction. 4 different teams, 4 different decades, and you're starting out with the late 60s. And this player is also known for being is also well known for also being in MLB The Show. So I basically was giving you players that were at least accessible in MLB The Show Diamond Dynasty. That was my prerequisite with whenever I made these.
I honestly really don't know, to be honest.
And notably, I have given you a team. I've given you the team that he is probably the most obscurely for being known on. More so known for playing for two other teams throughout the 70s and 80s, and two out of those 4 teams that he played for were in the state of Texas.
Who was it? I give up.
Nolan Ryan.
Oh, I was thinking Nolan at the beginning, but I didn't know he also played for the Mets and all that. Like, I didn't know
Yep.
he actually played for 4 decades.
Yeah. I mean, not very much of like the 60. It's kind of that same type of thing that you had with Vince Carter, where he came in so late in the 90s that, I mean, mostly known for being a 2000s player in basketball, but he played in 2020.
Yeah.
So that gave him 4 decades. There were 4 different decades that he played basketball in, or like 3 different decades that he played basketball in, or like 3 or 4 different decades that he played ball. So that's kind of how that worked. But I'm like, I'm shocked that you didn't end up with like Nolan Ryan from like a later on point. But I'm like, okay, I said 2 of his teams that we will know for. The card I think primarily that he has in MLB The Show is I think like his Angels card. But I think he's also had an Astros card at one point. And I think the thing that should have helped you was like 2 out of the 4 teams were from the state of Texas.
That's my bad. Honestly, yeah. So,
I'm giving you stuff that's like within your wheelhouse.
yeah, you're giving me more information than I gave to you, to be honest.
Yeah. It's just you're not it's more so I'm giving you more information, but you're not necessarily doing anything with it.
Yeah.
All right. What you got, Ruckus? Because I think this is the
Fourth
second
one?
to second to last one for me. Yeah,
Alright.
because your last one's coming up. Because I went first this time.
Alright. So, This pitcher started 3 different All-Star games in a row while playing for 2 different teams in those seasons. He played for
Same.
the Wait, what?
Was it the same league for for those 3
Yes.
straight years?
Yes, it was.
Cy Youngs,
I believe so. Who do you think it is?
World Series champion.
Yes.
What year?
2017.
So he won it as an Astro.
Or actually, no, my bad. 2018.
2018. So he won it as a Red Sox. Hmm. What year did he win the Cy Young?
I want to say 2016 or 2017.
Rick Porcello.
No. But here, I'll give you another hint. He is a very crabby man when it came to how he was treated with the White Sox.
Oh, you're kidding me! You gave me Chris Sale.
Yep.
I'm like, wait.
I honestly, to be fair, I honestly don't know if he actually won a Cy Young. I just know that he won a World Series with the Red Sox, and
I
he
knew he won the.
he started with he started in 3 different All-Star games in a row. He literally started twice with the White Sox as a White Sox, and then once as a Red Sox.
No,
But it was all in a row.
here's what you did. You misled. Yeah, he was a 7-time All Star. But when I said Cy Young, Sale doesn't have one, and Sale's only played for 2 teams in his career.
At least I said they. Yeah, I get it. That's my bad, but
That that was why I had the problem of like, okay, then I'm like, okay, 3 teams in his career. I'm like, okay, yeah, all of your information was leading me right to
Rick
your
Porcello.
information was leading me to Porcello. Your
Should
information was
we
leading me to
just finish
Porcello.
this out, to be honest?
Yeah, your information was leading me to Porcello, but Porcello was never an All Star. All right. Yeah, did this kind of not go as well as I thought? This is the
I,
only one that was not in MLB The Show, but this is an accessible thing. He was a 12-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion. The years are '04 and '07. 9-time Silver Slug Award winner. He was the World Series MVP for the 2004 series. 5 different teams in his career. He once made a play where he caught a fly ball and high-fived a fan before throwing a runner out for a double play. Was a 2002 batting title award winner. 555 career home runs with a career batting average of 312.
is it Manny Ramirez?
Yes, that one is Manny Ramirez. And I'm pretty sure the '04 stuff gave it away.
I had him as my left fielder, as because like originally what I thought what this worm segment was gonna be was like based on position players, but honestly I didn't realize how long this podcast was gonna go. This episode was gonna go, but it is what it is. I at least got a point and at least got a
Yeah.
question right, so I'm not really upset. I'm more just kind of like, okay, like maybe I should have like done a little bit more research or
Yeah,
gotten
yeah, a
more
little
things
bit.
clearer, but it is what it is. We're the night.
Yeah,
everything is still young. We're still learning and figuring things out.
Yep. And now we go to the weekly stud and dud. And Ruckus, I'm going to kind of start you out here with give your stud.
All right. So for our stud and dud, we usually do our stud is someone that succeeded pretty well during the week, and the dud is obviously the person that kind of just sucked. My stud was Andrew Benintendi being named an All-Star for the first time in his career. It's kind of hard to understand that because he played for the Red Sox, but obviously he just never became a all-star with the Red Sox, and now he's a reserve for the Kansas City Royals. Also, a stud mention: the first offensive tackle to become to have a 99 rating in Madden NFL video game has been bestowed upon Trent Williams of the San Francisco 49ers. He is the first offensive tackle to get the 99 rating in Madden, which means that you're just a big player that you want on your team because he's so good. And then my dud for this week is the Atlanta Braves trade between the Padres, which ensued Cano, because Robinson Cano, even though the week they traded him, he was doing well. Personally, I think that Robinson Cano is a shell of himself and not in the same type of shape he was when he was with the Yankees. But he's also had a lot of problems from a year ago with the steroid stuff, but in general, he's just not been the player he once was, and that's why I say he's a dud, because he got traded for cash for the Atlanta Braves. So really, the Braves just got, or not really the Braves, really the Padres just got cash from the Braves because they want to fill a hole. And I honestly, personally, don't feel like Robinson Cano fills a hole for the Braves, because Albies is the main hole that they're trying to fill, but Cano, I don't think is really that. But anyways, go ahead, Spennis. Do your stud and dud and mention if you got one.
Okay, so my stud for this week is Martin Perez, who he starts out his weekend with proposing to his girlfriend and getting engaged to his now fiance on Saturday, and the very next day he finds out that he was selected for the All-Star game for the in the American League. My dud kind of goes to really Lamar. I think I'm going to go Lamar Jackson, because the Instagram thing, it's like, okay, he's wanting to get paid, but you kind of have to. I feel like the hard part with trying to pay Lamar at this point, for especially for the Ravens, should they? I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I think you also have to kind of consider really what's going to be the true return on the investment that you would make in that, just simply because even though Lamar Jackson is marketable, he's known for being a running quarterback, and the hits he would kind of take would make him more susceptible to a major injury later on down the line. So my question, so really, kind of kind of Lamar Jackson, the reason why I'm giving him the dud in kind of that approach is that I don't necessarily have a lot of big trust in what Lamar Jackson is trying to do in order for him to get the get a new get a good contract for himself.
I
It
mean,
it makes
honestly,
it just kind of makes him look like he's greedy and incredibly selfish.
yeah.
It just it just doesn't give him like a very very good look. I mean, is he still on some element of his rookie deal? I get it. Yes. He's won an MVP and all this stuff like that. Okay, yeah. He's he's got means to justify getting paid, but I don't necessarily like the I'm not necessarily thrilled with the sense of how he's going about it.
I agree with you. Personally, I don't know how much running backs get as far as a max contract, but here's the thing. As far as the rivalry between the Chiefs and Ravens has been over the past couple of years, Lamar, when they're trying to be like, oh, he's better than Mahomes and whatnot, when they're trying to stir controversy. When it comes to the nitty gritty of things with the Ravens, they did not show it whenever it came to like the times that they needed it, like with overtime snaps and whatnot, or like down to the wire snaps. Like Jackson and Andrews did not click a whole lot, even against their own rivals besides the Chiefs. And the only time he was really actually good against the Chiefs was when he was actually not throwing the ball. Like he was running mostly. And the only other quarterback I can get off the top of my head besides him that can actually run it is Vince Young and Michael Vick. But before Michael Vick, it was Vince Young. Because I just remember in Madden 08 playing as Vince Young and just running the football to get the first down. I didn't think of him as. I don't think of Lamar Jackson as a quarterback. I think of him as a Taysom Hill like experiment where you use him as a quarterback, but really he just kind of maneuvers the ball however he wants to get a better advantage for the team. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, he probably is like truly a running quarterback, but I see more of the I see more of the susceptibilities that kind of come along with Lamar Jackson playing the position that he does. And he's going to get paid like a quarterback. The problem is that I think it is too much of an invest with caution
Right.
than it is like, oh, we're really going to buy in on this guy and he's going to be the guy. There's, there's still question marks that I'm not fully bought in on with him.
Yeah.
And most of them actually involve the throwing side of him. The arm strength, he's Michael Vick without the arm strength.
Right.
And I mean, granted, you want your quarterback to move, but you also want your quarterback to be able to throw the ball. I mean, these were the issues that left Tim Tebow being out of the league. That Tim Tebow can't throw. Lamar Jackson's a lot better when it comes to throwing, but his throwing down the field is not the best.
Also, to be fair with that, his running backs weren't always the healthiest. Like his starting one or his starting few got hurt like earlier in the season, and it didn't help his case when it came to that. But they also didn't have very many resources besides Hollywood Brown to trade for, or not to trade
Oh,
for, but just to have access to.
I'm more so talking also from just a net body of work.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not just mentioning the sense of the last season. I'm talking the whole body of work. I mean,
Yeah, like
costly throws
I get that.
like there's costly throws in playoff games. There's pretty much like, okay, his main target that he loves to hit is kind of that big target, Mark Andrews.
Right.
So there's really only so much that can really be done.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any honorable mentions or anything like that?
No honorable mentions this week for me. Just simply, I just kind of left it simple as that. I mean, it's been quite busy for me, so I really haven't been able to do as much this time around.
All
So,
right. Do you want me to
yep,
end us off?
yep,
All right.
yep. Take us out.
Thank thank you again for watching the Ruckus and the Menace podcast, episode 15. If you notice any technical difficulties after the first hour, that's my bad. But other than that, we had a good time of talking and chatting with you guys, and thanks for listening. I am Ruckus,
And I'm Spence
and
the Menace.
yeah, my Twitter is Ruckus Sports 97. That's RUCKUSSPORTS 97.
And I am Spence the Menace on Twitter.
All right. We'll see you next time. And again, sorry for the technical difficulties. We'll figure that out next time. Uh, have a good time wherever you are. If you watch this at night or day or whenever you do, don't sweat it. Just forget about it. But at the same time, we're here, and also have a good time. Good
All right.
night.
Deuces.